My name is Adam Montegut. I'm a tattooer in New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right. Why tattoo?
That's been a question that I've been asking. It changes. Initially, it was a way of drawing every day and kind of making something and creating something that I felt was contributive and not just like miscellaneous to the world. Like just it had a purpose kind of, but also it's fun. It's I get to draw every day, which I love. And then it grew into something more personal, where I developed these relationships with people, and kind of it's been pretty engaging as far as like personal and spiritual. Like kind of like different philosophy. Keeping open reception, because you have to be a tattooer, or I feel like a good tattooer, you have to keep yourself open to other possibilities and not be so closed off from the world, like because your clients are bringing things to you, and you have to stay tuned to your surroundings and what's going on, and develop your style and yourself too.
How many years have you been tattooing?
10 years, 10 and a half years, yeah. I started with my dad in Kenner. After Katrina, I moved back and then started my apprenticeship with him. I'd been apprenticing a little bit here and there, like in high school, and I would make needles for him and draw some flash. But I didn't apply myself to the art of tattooing until I moved back and started my apprenticeship with him in 2006. And then I got into it pretty quick, because I'd already done a bunch of the other mundane things, like the needle making and cleaning and stuff. But that's kind of how it started. When I was growing up, it was we always thought my brother would be the one that got into tattooing, and then I would be somewhere else, like in the fine arts or something. But then we switched at some point, so I ended up tattooing.
What was the first tattoo that you ever did for someone?
The first tattoo I did was on my brother. It was a small Vietnamese symbol. He had some Vietnamese friends, and so he wanted something that he could share with them. And it was simple enough. And that was my first one. My second one was like a little clownfish, and that was it.
What were some of the memorable responses that you got from clients?
There's some awkward moments, and then there's some flattering moments. I'm not sure which direction to take this one. There's been emotional moments where the piece really meant something to them, and they started crying when they saw the finished product. That's a little overwhelming sometimes, because you're focused on making a good tattoo and kind of objective and not in the moment in that way. And so it's but there's an adrenaline rush at the end of finishing a tattoo for both people that it's just kind of like a heightened experience. Yeah, I guess that's one of the more powerful moments, is when they become overwhelmed like that. It's fun. I mean, I like that surprise, and I always try to do something in my work that makes it a pleasant surprise, but also something that they can grow with, and as they look at the tattoo, as it's healing and stuff, they notice different things about it.
What type of tattoos do you enjoy doing the most?
Currently, I enjoy like large illustrative pieces dealing with mythology, but there's always little things that I enjoy. Like I just like tattooing flowers and skulls, you know. But the mythology, I feel like I can bring a little bit of interesting storytelling, you know, kind of put together, like, because with mythology there's always like this vocabulary of objects that surround the people in it, the characters and the morals or whatever, the lessons. And so I find like constructing that visual narrative is rewarding for me, you know, and kind of fun. And I get a lot of requests for stuff like that. So even though it's hard for me to know what my style is or what I do, because I'm in the middle of it, I'm just kind of moving forward and just doing the work. I guess there's something that people like about that, like, because I get a lot of requests for those kinds of things. And birds.
Well, I have to ask you about this and put it on wax. We are sitting in your shop, but as well as the museum. What inspired you to start it?
It started very simply. I just wanted to do like a little family tree, a simple family tree of like tattooers, because like it seemed like everybody had the same 3 or 4 shops where they started. Like it was either Jackie's shop, Art Accent, Doc Don's shop in Metairie, Brad's in the West Bank, or my dad's shop in Kenner. And like there's so many tattooers that came from there and like opened their own shops or just like moved around and worked with each other. I just kind of wanted to do like a little family tree. But the more I got into that part, the more stories I heard and realized that these stories weren't being written down or anything, and that some people had parts of the stories that other people had the other parts of. And it just kind of grew from there. It became its own thing. Like it was like its own entity, and I was just kind of like guiding it into a space. And I mean, I could tell that everything was out there. I just had to like be the one, because nobody else was doing it. I had to be the one that would kind of corral it together. And I mean, it's just how it happened. It happened pretty quick. So, you know, right now, because the museum doesn't make any money, I have to like fund it with tattooing. And so right now I'm trying to tattoo as much as I can so that I can have take the time off to do all the fun stuff of, you know, related to the museum. Like putting all that, yeah. I mean, I've put together a lot so far, but I really need to sit down with it and kind of, you know, connect a few dots and see what stories are there that I can pull out of it.
Second to last question. What inspires you the most? I mean, I see you in the museum. I also see you doing tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps that fire burning for you right now?
I like little things, like, and some of it's little things in boredom. You know, I really like getting to that moment where you're bored with something, because then you put yourself into the piece. You try to make it interesting. You're just, even in life, if you're bored, that's the second where you're like, what can I do that will make it fun for me? And so you actively engage whatever you're doing, because you're trying to break it out of complacency or whatever. And so being bored with the drawing, being bored with while waiting for something, you start maybe looking at, instead of playing with your phone, you know, you look at the ground and notice like the cracks are doing something different than you saw before, or that the drawing is like not working, but or maybe it's working too well, and you're like, it's not interesting anymore. It's just kind of too perfect. You need to change something up to make it like engaging. So yeah, I mean, I think the element of boredom is inspiring for me.
Last question is, 2017, what can we look from you? What are some things you're going to be doing this year that we should be keeping an eye on?
This year I'm trying to travel a little bit more and network and kind of just reconnect with some old friends that around the country that I have been needing to get in contact with regarding the museum, but also just to kind of keep things fresh. You know, it's nice to travel and come back because you're reactivated a lot with those experiences in different cultures and stuff. I'm always hoping to grow the museum, but I'm at a point where I'm just trying to like keep it sturdy, you know, and make sure that's secure. Not trying to grow too fast. So this is kind of a reinforcement period, I guess, 2017. Making sure everything's oiled up and good.
This is